Hey y'all, this past week I started working on a project that involves the Ledger wallet. So a Ledger wallet is just a hardware wallet for crypto, for those of you who might not know. There are tons like it, but I prefer using Ledger. I decided that I wanted to use the Ledger wallet for a web application, and this kind of presented one really big problem. You see, the Ledger libraries that are supplied by the company Ledger require some of the no built-in modules. In my case, the package I was trying to use required the buffer module, which does not exist outside of Node itself. Now, I'm not going to go into the details as to why having a module that's dependent on Node built-ins is a bad idea, but I will leave some comments down below so that way you can do some of the readings and learn a little bit more about it yourself. Anyway, to tackle the problem, I started by creating a new project in Snowpack rather than using the Create React App tool, which is dependent on Webpack. Now, the reason I picked Snowpack over Webpack is because one, I felt the configuration for Snowpack was a little bit more intuitive, and then two, I really liked the idea of the unbundled development environment that Snowpack gives you in terms of efficiency and in terms of dev easeability. After I had the Snowpack environment working, I decided to then again attempt the Ledger library issue that I was experiencing before. So I installed the Ledger npm module and was presented once again with the buffer not found exception. This time I was expecting it though, because I haven't really changed anything up to this point. And so I decided to look into Snowpack's docs, and I read up on the section about polyfills with rollup. Basically, enabling this feature will allow Snowpack, along with the help of rollup, to inject the dependencies from Node built-ins into modules that require it in your actual project. So in my case, it's going to inject the buffer node library in a way that the Ledger npm module is going to be able to recognize and going to be able to utilize. This was great. I mean, all I had to do was change one small configuration and then everything was just going to work, right? Well, not exactly. You see, once I did the configuration change and restarted my project, I still got the same buffer not found issue. Now, I annoyingly spent 4 days trying to figure out this issue. I did everything from installing libraries, I read dozens of blog posts, and I looked through every issue on GitHub for these packages that I could find, and nothing, and I mean nothing, seemed to work for me. Then I realized something. You see, on the first page of the docs for Snowpack, there's this diagram, and it kind of explains the differences between Snowpack and how its bundling system works versus other frameworks very similar to it. Reading further, we can see this statement specifically. Every file is built individually and cached indefinitely. Your development environment will never build a file more than once, and your browser will never download a file twice until it changes. Once I read this part of the docs, everything made perfect sense. You see, because I added the polyfill configuration change after I had built the initial project, what happened was the Ledger library had already been bundled by Snowpack, so it didn't see that it needed to be rebundled. It felt that everything was fine, and so the bundling that would have happened with rollup, the polyfill injection that would have happened with rollup, didn't occur because that module had already been built, and as far as Snowpack was concerned, it was ready to be delivered to the browser. So to test this theory and make sure this was my issue, all I had to do was run the Snowpack command, but I ran it using the reload flag in addition. Now the reload flag just deletes the entire cache and tells Snowpack to rebuild absolutely everything needed for the project. Once I had completely removed all the caching and restarted the project, everything worked just fine with the polyfill options. I was able to open my web app in the browser, I was able to successfully connect to my Ledger device and display my address on the web page as I had intended. So yeah, I spent 4 days on an issue that should have taken me less than a minute to solve. And it's all because I just didn't really think about what I had read on the very first page of the documentation. So let this be a lesson that sometimes all you need to do is just read and understand what you read on the documentation pages. Well, that's it for this video. I just kind of wanted to share that because it was very stressful. I spent 4 days on this project that should have taken me a minute, and it was all because I just missed one little line in there. So let that be a lesson. Just maybe take another look at the documentation before you go off the deep end like I did. Anyway, the link to the code that I used for some of the examples in this video is going to be down below. I do plan on doing a video of Webpack coming up. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please do let me know in the comments down below, and I'll definitely put that as a priority. And then also, this is a little Easter egg, but the project that is the example here is going to be expanded upon in a future video. So that's coming soon as well. That'll probably be next month's video. But anyway, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. If you like this video, you like any of the videos on my channel, or you like seeing any of my content, please do subscribe. It means a lot and it doesn't cost you anything. And then please ring that bell so that way you can get notified of future coding stuff and things. All right, see ya.